Now, while Arsenal have been on a pre-season tour with a lot of youngsters and a lot of first team players still not being there, it's been a real good chance to see where the squad is at and the players to really show themselves. One player that has been catching my eye is Gabriel Jesus, who I think is going into a make or break season but already looks much improved from last year. But why do I think this? Well, let's get into it. Now, it's fair to say that Gabriel Jesus' time at Arsenal has been riddled with injuries and a lot of inconsistencies. He obviously came in, was on absolute fire, getting 2 goals and 2 assists in his first Emirates appearance in the league, and that first few months it genuinely felt that we had a ceiling raiser. He was so much better than a lot of the strikers we had before, at least technically, and there was moments where he was just taking games by the scruff of the neck and being able to run past and use his brilliant dribbling skills while having a brilliant hold up ability as well. And the team overall improved heavily with him being within the squad. However, unfortunately, we all know what happened. In December of the year he signed, he picked up that really big knee injury which has been causing him problems ever since. He ended up missing around 3 to 4 months for Arsenal in his first year, and actually overall missed 17 games for club and country in that period. Now, in that time we had Eddie Nketiah come in, who was good in periods, and overall Arsenal got through without Jesus really being there. But when he came back, it was quite clear that the same player was not there anymore. And I think it's fair to say since that moment happened, his Arsenal career hasn't really got going. He's had the same consistent knee problems, actually having his knee injury 3 more times in the last few seasons, and he overall hasn't missed a huge amount of games, not the 4 months that he certainly missed at the start, but he's not really become a starter anymore and has been dropped to the bench and isn't really a vital player within the team. Now, there is moments where he has proven his qualities. I think about the Brighton game where he was specifically quite good in December, and the Nottingham Forest game when he came back, scoring a very vital goal in getting Arsenal a 2-1 win. He did miss a massive opportunity in that game, however we always know that's going to happen with Jesus. And this is not because of the injury, this is genuinely something that Jesus has been like in his whole career. He has never outscored his XG, his expected goals, in any season other than in 1 year where he scored 9 from an 8.7 XG. Every single season he has not quite got to that tally since he joined the Premier League, and necessarily it puts it down to him not being the best finisher even when given considerably good chances. Arsenal would have known that this was going to be a problem with Jesus when he came into the team, but Arsenal at the time and even now, it's not necessarily about being a finisher. They need someone that can do a lot more than that, and I think that play of Jesus definitely gets whittled down because people look at the shooting, which I understand is very frustrating. Now, in his first season, Gabriel Jesus got 11 goals and 6 assists in the Premier League in around 2,000 minutes. Given the amount he played and considering he had a 4-month injury in that period, that was overall a very promising season where people expected a lot more the year after. And of course, unfortunately, it's not always linear like that, and last season in 27 appearances in the league at only 1,400 minutes, he only got 4 goals and 5 assists. Now, of course, he still had a few games out of injury. He missed at least 8 in the Premier League and was on the bench a lot more, also filling in left wing and right wing towards the end of the year. But that sort of goal output from someone who's so elevated for Arsenal isn't going to be enough. Now, I think we did see considerable performances by him in the Champions League, especially in that group stage, so that definitely showed there was that potential there. And this leads us to the present day, where many people thought and actually wanted Jesus to be sold or not really considered in the first team, and I think he'd still be a player very much around the first team picture, but yes, he may or may not start now because of the emergence of Havertz and how good he was going forward towards the end of the year, but he's also not a good finisher. Now, the main thing that Jesus really predominantly is good at is obviously running, dribbling with the ball, and also being quite confident physically going up against defenders. Since his knee injuries happened, he's definitely been a lot more wary to do this, and a lot of the time in training over the last few years, he has used a knee support to make sure that he can get into physical shape, and it helps him when he is limping, which has happened quite a lot. Now, in this pre-season, you have seen by any of the training pictures or videos that he is not wearing a knee support anymore. He is no longer limping and there's no knee swelling, and I think this has played into the fact I think he looks way better already. Suddenly, when he's got this knee injury problem hopefully gone now for at least a bit of time, he looks a lot more mobile, and it looks like he's actually enjoying playing football, which definitely puts him a long way. Now, one of the things that I've noticed in these games is that his willingness to not only hold up, which he's brilliant at, but also run and press. It's something that he hasn't been willing to do, maybe down to fitness and getting in the team, but against Bournemouth especially, he was so good when he came on at just being able to run at the defenders. He is brilliant link-up player, people like Trossard, and he was always trying to press the the goalkeeper. And we all know how good Jesus can be on the ball. There was many times where he was creating chances from deep, not necessarily direct creation, but he was happily winning coming down to the right and left side to work with the midfield such as Nwaneri and Odegaard, giving them a little bit more space and actually giving us more space out wide. And speaking of going out wide, it's something that we all think that Jesus can have the potential to do and can actually help the team out on the left and right side if we need to. There was a few times where he would pick up positions running across from the defender on the left wing where he would try and put a ball in which didn't work, but this encouragement at least is there, and he doesn't mind having this free role. In the Man United game, he also went down the right side and had brilliant dribbling trickery, which I think shows him back to his best, where he was able to get past defenders, and his positioning and confidence just seems to be a lot more there now. And the Man United game especially, because obviously he started in that, really showed the confidence level that Jesus have and the fact he's up for anything. Even just looking at his stats, he made 3 out of 5 successful dribbles and made 2 passes into the final third. I like this because it shows that he is trying to get dribbles off in the game, and having 5 dribbles attempted is a lot for Jesus. He's a very good dribbler, and you know you want him in them chances because he's most likely going to come off. When he has the defenders behind him, he's so good at turning them, and he's a player that really adapts to these things that happen around him. When he can come inside and link up play with the players running around him, but also be the main creative outlet if he needs to turn inside the box or get a shot away, it's really what he excels at, which we just want more for him to do. I think in this game as well, one of the key stats that I saw was the amount of duels he was getting in. 6 duels won, 9 duels lost, but given the fact that he's sometimes against 2v1s and he's a bit manned up sometimes, while also being against very physical threats such as Harry Maguire in this game, he's obviously going to lose a lot. But what we want from our strikers is to be very physical, be fighting with the defenders, and eventually you'll win some knockdowns and you'll get some luck with the dribbling and ability of the players. It's exactly what Havertz is so good at doing, and the fact he's getting himself in so many again means he is ready for that physical contact, something that obviously with an injury he's been nursing for the last few years and didn't want to happen again. And of course everything is not going to be perfect straight away, but this moment where he goes past the Man United players on the wing and he runs and keeps running, it's that physical and that power and run that we want from him. Obviously his touch doesn't come off and he catch up and win the ball, but it's so much more encouraging than what Jesus has been doing for a very long time at Arsenal, which I obviously don't think is down to him necessarily because of the injury, but it's the reason why we signed him. Someone that is individually amazing, technically can do brilliant crosses, brilliant passes, and really link up the play with smart decision making. It's not necessarily about being an elite finisher, which he never will be. And just looking at his stats on FB Ref, when you look at some of the things he's done last season, and you can still see he's an incredible forward. His passes, his progressive passes are still very high for forwards, and even his creative work such as his assists, his non-penalty expected goals, and his shot creating action. It's not necessarily a goal scoring person because even his goal scoring stats are a bit lower, even though they're decent. 0.38 goals is pretty good, but he just does so much more to help the team. His defensive work is really good. His defensive work in the Man United game was really good as well, and ultimately having the decision between Jesus and Havertz is a brilliant problem to have because I think they both can do the role very well. I know they're both not elite finishers, and that sometimes is something that we all want, but right now I think in the phase and the system our team has and the market opportunities, I think these two are the best players that we have going forward next year. And I do say make or break season, but realistically I think if Gabriel Jesus is to show some potential or something like he did the first year he was there, I think we will still continue to keep him because I know the club consider him as one of the best attackers in the world. And I think overall sometimes his misfortunes and the negatives about him, people look to outweigh the positives, and there are so many positives about this guy. I think we just want to see it a little bit more, but he definitely has it in his locker, and hopefully now with this injury gone or at least nursed a little bit, he can be able to show that level to us again. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Gabriel Jesus is really going to take over this season, or do you think it could be the end of his time at Arsenal, which obviously I don't want to say anytime soon. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.